Welcome into Seahawks Today. I'm your host, Will Ortner, and the Seahawks just got done absolutely dismantling the AFC Conference champion Kansas City Chiefs. And I get it. You might say, hey, the starters weren't playing for Kansas City, but enough were playing that I enjoyed Seattle going out there and absolutely going belt to you-know-what when it came in this game. Make sure that you join us for the best Seahawks coverage on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Head on over. If you subscribe, you put on notifications, you'll be alerted whenever we have a video go live. I'm putting content out every single day. You're going to get at least one video, possibly a short as well. Maybe you'll get a couple videos. You're going to want to make sure that you're subscribed because we're going to inform you on everything that's going on with the Seattle Seahawks. Now, as I look at the box score for the preseason finale, the first number that jumps out to me, Seahawks up 33-16 over Kansas City. But what impressed me most was the ability of the offensive line to absolutely road grade in this rushing attack. You can see it here. Damien Martinez had 11 carries, 50 yards, and a touchdown. If you remember early on, I had said after his performance from the first preseason game that Damien Martinez needed to step up. He needed to show that he could be more than just a good college back. 6 for 10 wasn't good enough in that first game. In this game, Damien Martinez shut me and maybe some of the other haters up. He put his face in the runs. He ran through his opponents. He saw where the hole was opening up in the offense, and he just ran through it. He made a couple guys miss. He found his way to get into the end zone. He had a long of 19, and at this point, I kind of think that maybe I owe Damien Martinez an apology. I called him out. I said, hey, man, we need more from you. You're a guy who should be battling for that third running back position. After week one, I think you might be battling for a roster spot. And he said, hey, you know what? I'm a rookie, and I'm still learning how to play this game. And he clearly has figured out how this offensive line is going to block for him and how they're going to open up some holes. I do want to touch on the offensive line here as well, because Damien Martinez isn't the only running back that had a good game. Now, I understand what you're going to say. Hey, Will, Seahawks had their starters going. That didn't necessarily mean that the Kansas City Chiefs had their starters going. It still looked the way it needed to. You can see right here from Zach Charbonnet's stat line, right? 5 carries, 45 yards. He only had one drive, maybe two of action, but it seemed like every single time he touched the ball, he was getting 5 yards before he even got touched. Here's the beauty of Zach Charbonnet. If he's not getting touched until he gets 5 yards down the field, ain't no one going to bring him down because he's a savage and he runs through your face. He's got good moves. He was seeing the holes open up, and honestly, at this point, holes were big enough for him to drive a tractor through. Anthony Bradford had been one of my players going into this game that you needed to watch out for. I was beyond impressed. Just opening up holes, putting guys on their back on the defensive side of the football, and that allowed Charbonnet to kind of pick and choose his points. Figure out, hey, I can be more patient. I can put my foot in the ground here and cut up because Anthony Bradford has gotten the reach. He's opened this hole for me. Or if Bradford's running his defender by or getting the reach on the outside a little bit further, he can keep following along. It was just a great dynamic show from Charbonnet, but more so from that offensive line. Of course, Gray Zabel was absolutely doing his thing on the other side. I've never been more impressed. Mina Kimes had a tweet that just said, Gray Zabel, wow. Took the words right out of my mouth. Looking at the offense right now for the Seahawks against the Chiefs, when you have over 477 yards, it's hard to complain, but I think the more impressive stat line here is that rushing attack. Last year, the issue was you never ran the ball. All you did was throw. You came out and threw and passed and passed. And I don't have an issue with that. Sometimes air raid is fine. But when you're running the ball 48 times and you are still averaging 5.5 yards a carry, that tells me that that offensive line is able to lean on people. I think we've seen a jump start of what we're going to see, or at least a sneak preview of what you're going to see this year for the Seahawks. Expect them to run the football. Expect them to shove the ball down other people's throats. And I love as a former offensive lineman, seeing the big boys just lean on guys. This offense, if they can run the football like this, it's going to open everything up that they need for Sam Darnold. He ended up going 4 for 4 in this game, 32 yards. He had one drive of action. I'm perfectly fine with that. I said going into it, it needed to look a certain way. You needed to hold up to a standard of performance. And Sam Darnold and the rest of the Seahawks did that in this one. Look, he didn't end up having a touchdown, but every single throw was accurate. Every single throw was where it needed to be. If there was a blitz that was coming his way, he threw right to the open receiver. He took what the defense gave him. And I think the most important thing for Sam Darnold as a Seattle Seahawk is going to be that offensive line making him feel comfortable. The best way for the offensive line for him to feel comfortable is for them to continue to run the football the way that they have been, at least the way that they did in this game, because then opposing defenses have to make sure that they stack the box. In a normal situation, if you have 5 linemen and a tight end in 11 personnel, that means 1 tight end, 1 running back. You're going to put 6 guys in the box. Sometimes 7 hanging on the outside. You're going to make sure that all the gaps are filled. The way that offensive line was pushing people around, other teams, opponents, they're going to have to make sure that they stack the box, adding in 1 more, 2 more guys. Now all of a sudden, you got Cooper Kupp on the outside, all by himself. Now all of a sudden, you've got Jackson Smith and Jigba in a one-on-one coverage, and Sam Darnold can take advantage of that. The other beauty of the rushing attack, if you're running the football well, the other team's probably not going to blitz you as much. Let Sam Darnold pick and choose who his open receivers are and who he can find. Now, if you look at the total stats for both teams, it was domination on the defensive side. Kansas City only had 156 total yards. I love that performance from the defense. Yes, you had your starters going early on, but you know what you didn't have after that first drive because you look so good? You didn't have your starters going after that. So that's the second string defense absolutely flying around. I can't remember who it was, but they made sure to comment on a prior video this week, and they said, Will, you need to watch out for Patty O. Patty O'Connell, he's going to come in and make some big plays. Every time you need a big stop, it felt like he came up, made a big play. Julian Love on that 4th down, flying in from the safety position, getting a big tackle. Awesome, man. Awesome. And now, I do have a little bit of a complaint. Seattle needs to do a better job with the penalties. Other than that, man, when you hold the Kansas City offense and Andy Reid offense, I get it, man. It's Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew was a starter a couple of years ago. He's had stints as a starting QB. So you're not going up against a slouch. You're just not going up against Patrick Mahomes. You held them to 156 yards. Total offense, 156. 88 passing yards. 68 rushing yards. Kansas City couldn't get their offense going. The only times that they were able to do anything was when their special teams got down the field and put themselves in a position to score immediately. If that Kansas City special teams and Seattle special teams didn't look as bad as they did and Kansas City special teams look as good as they did, Seattle probably wins this game in an absolute shutout. I loved every single part of it, and now I'm over my skis. I'm thinking Yoffs. I'm thinking soupy. I'll probably calm down a little bit in the morning, but I'll tell you right now, as excited as I am, I really think the Seahawks team, we're not talking about them being a playoff team. We're talking about them being a division winner. We're talking about them with an opportunity to be a conference champion. I want to make sure that you comment down below. Who was the biggest winner of tonight's game? Make sure that you put it in. I want to hear your opinion. Whenever you have the opportunity to put those in, I always make sure that I go in and I like them. If you are following along, if I have an opportunity, maybe we'll even talk a little bit of ball. If you have a chance, at Will Ortner, Instagram and on Twitter, you can go and follow me there. It's all lowercase. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's a wonderful show.